joining me this beautiful Thursday afternoon. And it is that time where we come and have a little conversation about, or especially about your young children. All right, so today we are jumping right into a topic because we have a very short time for this session today. Okay, I'm going to start by saying that every strong building begins with a strong foundation, and so is parenting. And so is raising a child. If you're going to raise a child that is successful and exceptional, it begins by you building a solid foundation. My name is Veriba Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources, and of course, the proud matron of the Children's Mastermind Circle. Today, the topic we're looking at is building a solid foundation. What you really need, or what toddlers and young children truly need. Because a lot of times as parents, we do all the wrong things, right? Or we treat all our children the same way because we are not paying attention or focusing on the fact that different children or our children need different things at different stages of their lives. Yes. So our children need different things at different stages of our lives, just the way our different children need different things. Now, if you are not paying attention to the phases of your child's life, if you're not paying attention to your different children, then you may be raising them in a way that is not effective, or you may be giving to them what they don't truly need. So today, let's look at what it is that we truly need, or our children, more like the children, what we truly need for the phase of this particular phase of our children's life. So the first 7 years of a child's life, right, is so critical. Right? It is not those stages or that stage of your child's life. It's not simply about, growth, They are actually the years that the child's foundation is being built. The first 5 years of your child's life, very critical. The 2 years that follow, very, very important years. Okay. I like to add, to parents, the years between 7 and 10, those are your best years, for repair. So I say a lot of the times that by the time your child crosses the 7-year mark, what you are doing is more of, repairing what has probably not gone well in the first 5-7 years of their lives. But this is the best time for you to start your repair between 7 and 10. So we're looking at it holistically between ages 0 and 10. What do your children really need? Okay, and because we work with children between 4 and 10, I'll be talking a lot about that phase in your child's life. It's not just in your child's education or your child's, education that these years are critical. That's what we're beginning to learn with every passing day. It is with every aspect of your child's life, from nutrition to education to legacy to values, every aspect of your child's life. You need to focus on these years. These are the best years. Sadly, these are the years that we take for granted, especially in this part of the world, right? In Africa, these happen to be the years that we take for granted, because these are the years something tells us that, the children are young and they don't know what is happening. The children are young and they don't really need us yet. So these are the years that we are busy and we end up leaving them with other people who cannot invest in their lives in those years, people who cannot contribute so much into their lives at this, people who should not be a part of our partners or collaborators, because really they are people that we can partner with and we can collaborate with in this field of our children's life. But are we identifying the right people, and are we using are we connecting or using or partnering with the right people? Because if you are not partnering with the right people, the damage is not even, just one, it's times 2. Because if you are not there and you're not doing the right thing for and with the child, and then you bring some other person that is more of a problem than a solution, that's like 2-0 against your child. So you're better off that you are the one and you don't know what to do, okay? Or that the child is somewhere that someone is knows what to do, and it's just you that we need to focus on now, or you that needs to be more intentional, as opposed to you not being available and the child being in the hands of the wrong people. So this is what the conversation is about. Foundation is key, dear parents. No wonder scripture says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builder labors in vain. Meaning that foundation, first of all, begins with God, isn't it? But this is also to emphasize the place of a solid foundation. Even from the word of God, it says that a solid foundation is critical. If you do not build that foundation with the right partnership, if the builder does not build the foundation with the Lord, it will crumble. That's what it's trying to say here. Except we build with the Lord, meaning that foundation has people that you will partner with. And the first, thing that you want to think about in your child's foundation is God. It's God, because from the beginning, God is the architect of all this. You were selected, you were specially picked to be the parent of this child for a purpose, because God is looking for someone to partner with. So you cannot raise a child with a solid foundation without going back to the maker, because the maker is the one who even knows the purpose for that child in the first place. So your first solid place in raising a child with the right foundation is knowing God. Is doing it with God. Is knowing what God says about that child. We're going to come back to the partners or what we need in building this foundation. All right. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 also says you should train up a child in the way that they should go. What is he saying? Build the right foundation. What foundation will lead the child to the path where the child is going to? Build that foundation today. It goes back to say the foundation that we prepare for our children is very critical. The foundation that we put in place for our children is very critical. So we cannot raise children if we want them to succeed, if we want them to excel, if we want them to impact the world, if we want them to make a difference, if they want them to navigate the world effectively or navigate the world as not people who are struggling. You don't want your child to struggle. You don't want your child to be a simple survivor. You want your child to thrive. Then you must gift them the gift of a solid foundation. So important, it cannot be joked with. Everyone who hears these words of mine puts them into practice is like the wise man who builds a house on a rock. Still emphasizing in Matthew chapter 7 verse 24 to 25, still emphasizing on the need to have a solid foundation. So no, we cannot raise children who will succeed if we do not understand the place of the first 5-7 years of their lives. Now let's break that down a little. Now in the first 3 years of your child's life, your child is absorbing everything in their environment. The child is absorbing everything in their environment in a sensorial way. They're using their senses to take in everything in their environment. So what they hear, what they see, what they touch, all of that is critical in that stage, because this is the stage that they are naturally ready to learn in the most authentic way. So your environment is so important in this phase. What is in that environment that the child sees? What is in that environment that the child hears? What is in that environment that the child perceives? What is that in that environment that is the emotional? What is the emotional energy of that environment? Your child is absorbing these, and these are going to be what your child's foundation is built upon. So if your child is growing in an environment, and I hope you know, sorry, I need my charger. Sorry, give me a second. I need to get my charger. Sorry. Who is there? Sorry, give me a second, please. I'm so sorry about this. Let's just plug this in so that it doesn't die on us. Sorry about this. I'm sorry about this. The charger was so far from me. I didn't realize we were almost out of battery. All right, so this is it. If the foundation isn't right, if the foundation is not, what's going on? All right, sorry, we're having a bit of trouble on. Sorry, Instagram, if you're on YouTube, can you still see me? I'm not sure what the challenge is. My YouTube is frozen right now. Is it network? Sorry about this. Give me a second to try and fix this. What's going on? Sorry, 1 second. Okay, I think I got the problem. I can see you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the feedback. Sorry about that. All right. So if that foundation is not strong, I think I've lost my trail of thought, but let's go. Okay. So if that foundation is not strong, we are going to run into trouble, right? Because the foundation is everything. Okay. Yes, I was talking about the first 3 years. Okay. So this is when the child is absorbing everything in their environment, and this is forming. This is forming how the child perceives the world. This is forming how the child's belief system. This is forming the child's mindset. This is forming the child's value system. This is forming everything that the child knows. That is why we love to say that your child will see the world through your eyes. Your child will see the world through your eyes, meaning your child will see the world through how you show them the world in the environment that you have created for them. Your environment includes you, especially the primary caregiver. That environment also includes everything that is in it. The people who are in that environment. The people who are in that environment, the thought system in that environment, the emotions in that environment. So what are they seeing? What are they watching? What are they hearing? How are you talking to the people in the environment? What kind of things are the people in your environment doing? Your child is absorbing all of these things. What are the things that are your normal in your environment, in your home, especially where the child spends most of the time? This is going to be the child's environment or the child's experiences. So the physical environment, the psychological environment, the emotional environment, the social environment, all of it is going to form who your child is becoming. So very important. Very important. Now we're going to jump. I said this is a very short class because I need to go for a conference, and of course I know a lot of us, but we want to try and make these sessions as short as possible, because really there's no need staying here for long. If we can hit on what it is that we need to get it, and then go away and use it and implement it, because that's the other thing. If we keep learning, gathering data and gathering information, and we are not seeing how we can apply this data and information into our journey and then use it to make a difference in our parenting journey, then it is just data gathering. Okay? I am in a place where I have said to myself, every time I hear anything new about parenting, every time I learn about parenting, every time I listen to someone talk about parenting, I'm going to do everything within my power to pick at least one lesson that I can apply from what it is that I have learned. Because parenting is an ongoing concern, and you can never get to a point where you say, I have gotten everything right. The moment you get to the point where you start acting or you start believing or thinking that you have gotten everything right, you have gotten to the point where you are not intentional anymore. Because intentional parenting is you constantly being in your parenting journey and seeing and being in your children's life so that you can see the blind spots. There are always blind spots. They're always blind spots. That's why you can see a child, or you can have a child who is a high flyer, does excellently in school, and that child struggles with waking up in the morning. That's a challenge there that needs to be nipped in the bud. You can have a child that wakes up in the morning and does everything that they have to do, but that child has a problem with their moods or how to interact with people. That's a challenge there that needs to be supported. You can have a child who does all of these things, but listening or running with instruction is a challenge because somewhere in their head, everything you're saying, they already know. So the child is not even open to learning. The child has a fixed mindset. That on its own is a huge challenge. Yet, this child is super intelligent. This child is super disciplined. Yet, somewhere in their head, I know it all. I've got this all. So why are you stressing me? So parents, it's an ongoing concern. So learning doesn't stop. We never get to the point where we say we're done. So that's why what I'm saying is, as you pick one thing, one really. So every time you listen to anything on parenting, make sure you're looking for that one thing that you can run with. So quickly, let's go. 5 ways that parents can build a strong foundation in their homes. Right. Build a safe and loving relationship with your child. This one is sacrosanct. It is, as in, nail it. And how do you do this? You do this by bonding with your children. You do this by connecting with your children. You do this by creating a system in your home that allows you connect with your children no matter what. You connect with your children when they are upset with you. You connect with your children when they're happy with you. You connect with your children when you are tired. You connect with your children when they are tired. You connect with your children no matter the situation. Meaning, your connection is not determined by emotions. Your connection is determined by the system that you have put in place. How do you put, or what kind of system do you put in place to ensure that you're connecting come what may? One of it is putting the system of bedtime stories or pillow talks. So there are times I would have had a big, huge quarrel with my daughter. My daughter is 11 now. At 11, we've had a huge disagreement. I mean, she didn't do the dishes. I've said this over and over again. My daughter doesn't like to do dishes. She doesn't like to do stuff. Don't call her to come and do dishes or do communal cooking. I know she would rather, can I just go and do my thing and eat my thing? But no, it's a sport. I mean, it's a challenge. We will fix it. We fix it with doing this consistently. We got to do what we have to do. She doesn't like it. She may not like it. But hey, I'm the parent here, and it is my responsibility to help her understand that we don't have to love everything that we do. We do what we need to do. That's how it works. We do what we need to do. Because destinies are dependent on us. People are dependent on us. God, isn't he? I mean, have you ever thought of the irony? How God gives you a purpose that serves other people. How God makes you successful by being able to solve the problems of other people. How God uses you, and the using is using you to be a blessing to other people. So no, it does not have to be convenient all the time for you. It has to be that you understand the assignment to create solutions for people that God has kept, right, for you to be their savior. Yes. So we need to start helping our children understand that this thing you have to do it because you are a savior and the whole generation is depending on you to do this thing. So how would they get to the point where they know that the whole generation is waiting for them, that they can pull and stretch themselves if at home you are not ensuring and making sure that they do what they need to do? It's at home that the learning starts. It's at home that understanding responsibility and doing it, that's where it starts from. So there are days that we've had one of those disagreements and all of that, and it's just time for her to go to bed. She's upset with mommy, but she still comes and she says, are you coming for pillow talk? Like, are you coming for pillow talk? Oh, I mean, back then would you come and read me a story? And all that because there is a system. So many times, by the time we have pillow talk together, we're able to look at what it is that just happened, and then we're able to see each other's perspective because at this point now we're relaxed, we're lying down, and we are close. At this point we've been able to drop all the tension and drop all the energy that is, all the negative energy, and so we're able to look at this thing from a good place. So that's why you should create systems. The systems will save you. The systems will make sure that your connection is always there. But if you don't create those systems, you find out that it's just like, in a marriage. In a marriage, you decide, when my husband and I married, we decided that no matter what happens, we will end up in the same room. I mean, nobody gets angry to the point that you carry your bag and you go to the living room and go and sleep because you're upset. So whether you the vex so on that bed, that's where you sleep. So before you know it, that has become a standard, and so it takes too much out of you. It takes a lot out of your reconciliation process. Do you understand? It takes a lot out of your reconciliation process. So the system makes it easy for you to reconnect. So depending on your dynamics, create a system that allows you reconnect with your children every time. Create a system that allows you reconnect. And that's why even when we create resources, I create resources with this in mind. So that's why every time I publish new sets of books, there's always a book for you to read together. There's always that bedtime story book and the idea is I need to create a book for every age that the parents can read to the child, that the parent and the child can enjoy together. So if you did not get our 10-in-1 bundle, our new books, pre-order of these books ends on the 31st of June. July, sorry. Right now, you can still get those books at a 20% discount. We have 10 new books. If you've been reading my book, I promise you, if the children have been reading my book, I promise you, this time they will tell you these ones are like nothing that they've read. I am not even joking. Yes, these ones are like nothing. And do you know why? I took my time and I said to myself this year, I want to create books that children don't just pick to read because their parents say they should read. I want to create books that children do not just read because the mastermind or whatever, mentorship community they belong to insist that they read. I want to make a book, I want to create books that children will pick and they are done reading and they're looking for the next one in the series because the book is highly age appropriate. The book is highly age convincing. The book is relatable to the child of that age, and the book is stressless for the child of that age. Yes. So I've been able to create books for children 0 to 3. So your 0 to 3 will take our first book series. They are now board books. So these are board books because we want to also help the children build confidence. We want to help them know that we trust them. When you hand a little child a book, and you let the child interact. Remember, I said, in the first 3 years of the child's life, learning is sensorial. So the child learns by touching. The child learns by interacting with the material, with their environment. So we've created books that the child can actually interact with without you being afraid that the child will tear the book. Because every time you say, no, give me, that is you putting a restriction on the child's learning process. Every time you say, no, don't touch it, I will hold it, remove the child, and that is you stopping the child from interacting with the substance, with the material in their environment. So we want to take out that so that children can interact with books fully. This is our first book. The next one will even be pop-up books. We will go all the way. Because as I said, I want to create resources that children run to. And for your children this age, they need resources that they can go back to over and over and over again because this is the period of repetition, memorizing, and all of that, familiarity and all of that. So the child can take this book over and over and over and over again. So it's durable and all of that. So they were created that way. Then the next one is the one for the 4 to 6 year olds. This ones are the Little Minds series. So the Little Minds series is packed with pictures, or about 20 pictures, I think, in that little book. So and then it's a transition book. So for your child that wants to start feeling like a big boy, a big girl, that has moved from just colorful books and board books, okay, I'm moving now, I can read chapter books. I remember when my daughter read her first chapter book, she was 5. She was 5 thereabouts. That day she danced and danced. I read my first chapter book, maybe because we're book people. So of course she knows about the level of the books, and all of that. So when she read her first chapter, she actually felt like a big girl reading a chapter book. So yes, I've created that chapter book. Choppy chapters, short chapters, loaded stories. The stories are mind-blowing this time. And you know how we do it. We put out the stories, and the stories end up teaching the children, a lot. And of course, for the children in the mastermind, though, because this year we have 4-year-olds in the mastermind in our next cohort, 4-5-year-olds. And this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be learning through stories. We're going to be acting out stories. Our classes will be full-blown African stories. And then we will be talking about the learning points of every African story. So you're going to be seeing Auntie Maribeth's Tales by Sunset, full of it in the mastermind circle, full dress, grammar, everything. It's going to be mind-blowing, especially for all the children, right? But our 4 to 6-year-olds, we are particularly, and we want to ensure that we finish, foundation, we will finish the foundation, So very important, right, that this. So you can pre-order the books if you haven't already, okay? We will put that in the link after this class so you can pre-order the book. So number 2 is build character before achievements. So this is the stage where you want to build character. You want to position yourself and build the character of your children. Teach honesty, teach kindness, responsibility, gratitude, self-control, respect, and then all of that before you start focusing on grades, awards, and all of that. So before awards, grades, all those things come, in the first 5 years of your children's life, focus on teaching, on building their character. So that's why when I see parents, my 3-year-old doesn't know how to write A to Z, doesn't know how to write. What is your problem? Leave 1 to 40 already now. They will write it somehow. They will write it somehow. When my daughter was 5 years, when my daughter was 5 years old, right, she didn't like to write. My children don't like to write till today. They don't really like to write. In fact, I was sitting down with our son's teachers in a conference. He's going to his final year in secondary school. I was sitting at a conference, and 2 of his teachers actually said to me, in fact, the teachers agreed in that meeting that the challenge is he doesn't want to write too much. He doesn't want to put too much down. Like in a class conversation, that he is an A+++ student. Now, when it comes to writing exams, he begins to give you just an A, something, and they know. So I know before they finish, I tell them, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. He doesn't, writing is a problem. So I have said to my children over and over again, you are in Africa. You live in Africa. You are Nigeria. We are paper people. We want to see it on paper. If you were somewhere else, I would tell you, they would probably look for other ways to assess you or something like that. You're here. So we're still pushing. Okay, that's some gray areas. We're still pushing and all of that, but it is what it is. So you say, that's writing, because I didn't bother. It wasn't a big deal for me. The child is 5. My daughter is 5. They say, she's not writing. No, it's okay. We get there. It's not by writing. What are you carrying here? When I meet you any day, anytime, what are you carrying here? So let's build character before we start stressing and dragging the children up and down about grades, and all of that. Number 3, build habits that are healthy daily habits. Habits building, very key during this period. You want to let your children understand SOPs. You want to let your children understand process. You want to let your children understand stages. So teach them first thing to do, next thing to do, next thing to do. Let them understand process. Let them understand SOPs, standard operating procedures to doing things. Let them internalize habits. So meaning consistency comes in here. This is the time that you choose how you want to do the things in your home and then help your children learn and make them do this consistently. This is what you're supposed to be doing in this phase of their life. Make their beds. They wake up in the morning. That's what I say to the children in the mastermind. If your bed is not made, you are still sleeping. Until you make your bed, you have not woken up. So wake up in the morning and make your bed. So this is what part of what we do with the children in the mastermind, because we're building habits. Building is core in our system. Very key. Teach them. This is the time to help them cultivate a love for reading. Put a time to reading every day. Let them read for 10 minutes. It is better to read for 10 minutes every day than to read once in a week for 30 minutes or 1 hour. 10 minutes a day. Very important. I remember when I was homeschooling my daughter, right? Not just homeschooling, all through, but especially that time. The first thing she does in the morning when she wakes up is come out, greet us, go to the bathroom and have a bath, and then come out with her basket. And then after breakfast, the first thing she does is grab a book. She reads a book while I'm tidying and doing other stuff before I join her. She reads a book by herself. So the first thing we do in the morning is share perspective on the book that she has read. So she tells me what she's read. We talk about it and all of that. So my daughter right now, my children, you can have any kind of conversations with them. They know how to sit down with you as an adult and have conversations. They can even have more conversations with adults than they can have with you. My son will do more conversations with adults than children. My daughter will do conversation with anybody at all. Looking you straight in the eye, because she's learned to have a perspective to things. She's learned to have conversations all her life. So these are the small things we do that help to seal and build the solid foundation that our children need for the rest of their life. Nobody's going to take it away. The confidence that they built through reading, the confidence that they built through doing and building their competencies, the confidence that they have built from knowing that they can, just because they started doing as early as possible. Nobody can take it away. So that's why, in fact, the other day, just yesterday, we're in the kitchen and we're saying something about football. And if you see the way my daughter said it with her full chest, and I told her, I'm like, when did you start doing football or watching football like that? When did you know this and all that? She's like, I guessed. But she said it so convincingly, she'll convince anybody. And I said this over and over. I said this over and over again. It's not so much of how much you know. It's how bold you are to stand on what it is that you know and what you believe in. That's what the world is about right now. The world is for the bold and those who are not afraid to carry their message without being subdued. The world is right now, what do you call it? The world will actually reward people who know how to stand by what it is that they believe in. That's what it is. That's why you see noisemaker who know nothing but are loud enough. You see people following them up and down the place. You can tell that this person don't even get head. But you are following just because he's bold enough to carry his God, I beg. Do you understand? So why then would you not teach your child who knows so much to use their voice, and speak of the things that they know of? Very key. Let's start rounding up. Okay? The next one is build a rich learning environment in your home. We're shouting book. I'm not saying books because I write books. I started writing books because I want more children to read books. That's why I started writing books, because I wanted more children to develop this culture. I have done it. I know I did it with my children. It worked and it helped us in all areas of our lives. So if I can put together books to make more children do the same thing, so that we're not just reading junk books. If you're going to fill your environment, fill the environment with books that are rich and they have depth. Because we have a lot of books out there, very cheap books. But when you carry, they're just shallow books that are not even different from the things that they're watching on TV, up and down the place, and all of that. So While they read books, let them also read books that have got depth. Let them also read books that can build their minds. Let them also read books that will pass values while they are laughing and enjoying the story. How about getting all three or all five in one? Do you understand? Something like that. So please, if you don't have a budget for books in your home, please, why not? So you buy Pampers for your little babies every month. You buy baby food every month. You buy your children clothes because they need to look good. You buy your tissue paper every month. You buy tomatoes and all of these things. You have money put out for these things, every month. Then can we invest in our children's minds? It's not just when you pay school fees and you bought books in school. How about the books that they need to enrich their minds daily? Don't be the reason why your child does not cultivate a love for learning. Because when you have a rich learning environment, say this library that is behind me, this is our family general library and all of that. But in every room in our home, in every room, right there, see, right here are children's books. This is my daughter's corner of the library. This is my daughter's corner of the library. Right here, these are the children's corner of the library. Right, see, right here, this is the corner of the library. Now, in every single room in our house, there is a library. I have a library in my room. My daughter still has a library in her room. Our son still has a library in his room. Why we not go read? Do you understand? So build a knowledge-rich environment. Put arts around your house. Let your children look at arts and try to make sense of it. What are you watching in your living room? Is it every time African music, Afrobeats, and it's every time? What happens to documentary? Then what happens to the puzzles? What happens to all of these things that you can do together? Let your home be the reason why your child is connected to learning, that your child loves to learn because you created an environment. As I said, the environment you create in your home for your child will determine how the child sees the world. Environment trumps even your values. Environment is very key. Lastly, build them through a mentorship and intentional guidance. Put your children in mentorship programs. This is the time. See, the way the world, once upon a time, maybe the need for mentorship was not loud. It wasn't really, a thing, or it wasn't, I don't know, maybe, I don't want to say not really necessary. Okay. But you see, these times that we're in right now, the times that we're in right now is such a time that nobody, adult or child, should be without a mentor, not to talk of a child. Now, why does your child need mentorship? The world is full of many voices. So many voices out there, from the celebrities to the musicians to the pillars of this world. There are all kinds of people telling your child what the world should be. There are all kinds of people, all kinds of conventions out there trying to convince your child of what it is that the world should be. Today, I was reading something online and I saw a woman who was very upset that people are getting married. And she says, why does it have to be that a woman must actually be married to a man? Why does society put this pressure on us? Can't we just cohabit, and all of that? Then there's another one who sat down and was saying that you can get STD, from when your period comes. When you have your period will give you sexually transmitted infection. It is called a sexually transmitted infection. But somebody is saying, when you eat the food, when you eat food that your body cannot take, the orange or the tomato or the pepper that your body doesn't take will give you a sexually trans. Do you understand? Now, these people are everywhere boldly passing these messages. If you don't train your child's ears for the kind of people to listen to, they will be convinced by anything and everyone and every conviction out there. Number two, you are teaching your child. But do you know that a lot of the times, It gets to a stage when our children becomes preteens and teenagers and all of that, and they look at you as an entity. They look at you as a parent, and you are just mommy worrying. You are just daddy. You are just, as their parents, you are just worrying. You know, the way they bunch us and they make it seem like it's old people, his parents is their thing. Right. So it feels to them like you are just saying this because you want them to do or be a certain way. It's not really it, especially when they're in environments where other people's children, parents are not saying the same thing or not doing the same thing. So they're in a class where all their friends have got food. Then you come here with your drama and you're saying you're being intentional. Don't have food, don't have that. So they think you are a problem. Then you come here and you talk of this value, that value. Yeah, they think you're a problem. After all their classmates do not think like that, and they are okay, they are fine, and they're having a great time. They come to class and they feel lost because all their classmates are talking about one musician, one show, one something, and they are not there. They think you're a problem. Your own is too much holier than thou and all of that. So sometimes we need collaborators. We need people who will reaffirm what it is that we're saying. We need people who will actually join forces with us to help our children see that it's not just us. We need not just us with a problem. We need people in a community. We need them in a community where they can see other people who are being raised in the same way that their parents are raising them. You need to create a community, an environment for your child that is away from the secular things that they see in their school that tends to confuse them, because they're children from all kinds of backgrounds when you go to those places. So very key. Then apart from that, a mentor is that cheerleader, right? At least that's the mentor that I am. Is that cheerleader that will cheer your child on, right? And then will give your child feedback in a way that your mommy or daddy nature will be blinded. The way I see things when it comes to your child will be different, slightly different. Right? I'm able to stay objective, come what may. You may be upset at what the child has done, and that emotion would actually blur the lines for you. But my line concerning your child can never be blurred. It can be blurred when it has to do with my own child, but it can't be blurred when it has to do with your own child. Why is that? Because we take away that maternal thing and we're able to face the situation as it is. And you know, a lot of the time, the children would tilt towards, especially as they grow, you know, they would tilt towards that person that they feel is not judging them, because over the years they begin to feel like you are being judgmental. After all, you've been the one there correcting. They start seeing you as a judgment king. So it's easy when this person comes from a neutral point, shares your kind of, you know, vision, shares your vision, shares your values and all of that, and the person is still able to see things, you know, it's easier for them to think, you know, of me as someone who understands, you know, better than you do, because of course you are their parent and you've been there, you know, saying no, not like that for the longest time. Apart from that, mentors are actually people who have been there and done that, and they're able to guide your child, right? And create a springboard so that they reduce the lapse of the journey just because they are there. We don't tell children what to do, but we stay by them and guide them while they make the choices that they make. And you know something, for your little children, mentorship is not easy. You know, accountability is not easy. Okay, so you want to introduce them to accountability, mentorship, running with instructions, and being, you know, being pointed to, you know, productive things as early as possible. So when your 4-year-old is already in a system where he knows that he has responsibility or someone is holding him accountable at 4, by the time he becomes 15, you're not going to struggle with that child when you say to them, oh, you need to speak to someone about something, or I need you to go to a counselor, or I need you to this, or I need you to that, or you have someone, when you are not there for any reason, because you won't always be there, and I'm not, yes, for any reason, you won't always be there. When you're not there, your child is already trained to recognize the right kind of voices to listen to, and they know how to submit to be accountable. So you have prepared, you have made their life easy for them by introducing them to a system like this. And it's with when you introduce them to this early that you're able to put in, trusted adults in their lives, because now they understand the place of, giving their ears to the right voices. You know how the scripture says, my sheep knows me and they recognize my voice. You want to teach your children how to recognize the right voice. So these are all the reasons why mentorship is very key. Okay, as I round up, dear parents, okay, I need you to know that the foundation you give your child is very critical. The foundation you give your child is everything. A beautiful house may be impressive to people, but it is the foundation that determines whether it will stand and how long it will stand for. So it can be beautiful and very nice and all of that. You know how we hear those things, in Lagos, or you hear in some area how one house has collapsed. It doesn't matter how beautiful that the house is. When it collapses, it kills, it ruins, it destroys people and destroys property. So it's not about how cute it is. It's about how solid the foundation is and how far that foundation can go. So if we have to raise children who will be if we want to raise children who will be successful in all areas, we're not talking about you're able to get this job or you have this money, and all of that. You have a child who makes all the money and has a shitty behavior. You have a child who makes all the money and cannot stay in a relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is. You have a child who's shitty and cannot has all the whatever qualifications and all of that, and doesn't even remember to look for you. Would you say that child is successful? So we want to raise wholesome children. We want to raise children who will be successful in all areas. We want to raise children who will be wholesome. We want to raise little children who will become resourceful, highly resourceful teenagers. So this is why we started the mastermind program, and this is why I would like to invite you to bring your children to be with us in the mastermind circle as we start a new cohort in September. The mastermind circle is a mentorship and accountability group that we run for children between ages 4 and age 10. Yes, when your child comes into the mastermind circle, we have the 4 to 6 year olds this year. We call them the little minds. The little minds are taught through stories. Yes, their sessions are going to be mind-blowing story session, African story sessions, where we will be. So this is a way to help them, connect with their identity, especially for children in diaspora, okay, wherever it is that they are. This is a good way to help them connect with their roots, okay, because we will be bringing real African stories, acted out African stories, and we will have endless lessons embedded in those stories. So our conversations will be, drawing out the lessons from those stories, so we want children to review stories, to review books in an exciting way, because they can relate to whatever values or whatever, lessons that we are teaching through stories. Okay, we will have them do daily accountability, but this time it's not going to be tedious. Okay, it's going to be simple accountability with tailored journals that they will use, because we want to introduce them into the journal system. But we want to make their journal fun, where they draw and then they answer topic questions and then they share their experiences that way. We want to hold their hands in happy way, where we teach them how to build relationships and network with other children by pairing them up in body programs and all of that. This year we want to hold every child accountable from day one. So this is the best time for your child to get into the circle. Okay, we've been able to try a few things to add to the system, right? Our streak system, we introduced it late, and just because we want the children to build streaks over the year and see themselves grow in those streaks, so that your children can have long projects and they can have things that they will hold themselves accountable by and see themselves grow through the months. The mastermind is such a beautiful family. It's such a wholesome family, and it's a place for every child. So we're going to help them build habits. We're going to help them learn through stories. We're going to have the children We're going to have the children set little goals and learn how to. This year, very little goals, short goals, and learn how to see the goals through from the beginning to the end. We want to teach the children how to start taking initiative, okay, and how to start leading themselves. It's a whole lot, okay? It's a whole lot, but done in a nice, calm, sweet way. The mastermind is a place where no child is judged. So it's a zero judgment ground, more like an encouragement ground, and a place where the children will see the need to make efforts because they understand their why. Thank you very much. If you'd like to be a part of the mastermind circle, it is you can use the link that will be shared in the comment section, right? To register for the mastermind circle. You can book a slot with just 20,000 naira and then pay up. The mastermind circle this year is 100,000 for new partners. So if you're joining us for the first time, just 100,000, it's about 8,000 per month. Yes, it's about 8,000 per month. I do scaffolding for my children once in a while when they're struggling with something, in their academics, and I promise you, it is the money is plenty when you need a teacher to come in for just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 1 month. The mastermind is just about 8 or 7,000 per month. It is nothing, right? For a whole year, we're here with you 365 days a year. Okay, so and your child is with us, support, one-on-one system. We have one-on-one check-ins. We do all of that. We have feedback systems, all of it. It's such a robust system. Okay, so you want to register your child and join us. Before the mastermind, we also have the book challenge. We have our 30 days book challenge, our safari afro. So this year it's all about African stories. So we're more of African stories and learning through stories. So it's all about African stories. It's all about being outdoor. It's all about those treasure hunts. It's all about creativity. It's all about the children building and creating and seeing themselves. So it's not just a reading challenge, it's actually an activity, and then while at it we will read, because we want to cultivate the love for reading in a fun and exciting way. It's a challenge no child should miss. So if you have children between 0 or ages 1 and 10, bring them. Let's have fun in these 30 days. Okay, so you can join us for that. And we have a free masterclass for children where we on Saturday, while we'll be helping them, reflect, reset, and rebounds for the new school year. We want them to be able to look at what the last school year was like. So we have a way of helping every child do a bit of reflection. So send your children between 5 and 12. Send them. It's a free class. So let them come and have fun. So we have all this link in the comment section. You want to click each of them and join the different classrooms, okay, and join the different places for this. Thank you for joining me today. I want to believe that we have a lot to take away from the session. I've had a great time, being on your screen. Have a fantastic day. Have a blessed weekend as we get into the weekend. And thank you for joining me. Bye. You can put your questions in the comments if you have any. Hi, Christabel. How are you? All right. If you have any, put them in the comment section and I would answer them. Thank you for joining us. Bye. Bye for now. Okay. Ordering mine in the details. Okay. Why do I still think that this screen is bye?